Radio. This is the Urban Suite D Major, Cheryl Middle, and joining us for our open mic session this evening, as I stated before, we are happy to have Matheus in studio with us. How are you this evening?
Doing wonderful. How are you doing this evening?
Glad to finally have you here.
Yes, I'm so happy to be here. It's been a long time coming, but you know what? We finally made it happen.
And not to put your guest on the spot, but we are also happy to have Leah in the studio as well.
Hi. Hey. Happy to be here. Very cool. Very great studio.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome as well.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get a chance to speak to more of both of you about music and life and everything.
Of course. And that's why we're here, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Originally from the town?
San Antonio, born and raised. I'm from here. Yes, sir.
What side of town?
I grew up on the northwest side of town, now considered, I guess, the west side of San Antonio, but out there in the SeaWorld area.
Okay.
So yeah, that was mostly like where I grew up.
Nice, nice. So when did your love for music begin? What kind of sparked that interest for you?
Oh man, great question. Of course, I started listening to music at a very, very early age. One of the earliest, things that I was, of course, drawn to musically, were the Beatles, the Motown sounds. That kind of soulful music was really like the early influence.
True classics.
Yes, of course, the true classics. Of outside of that, I grew up in the church and stuff, so I did have that, background of that kind of spiritual music. So that, also was a very, very big influence on me. I was a soulful little kid, listening to all this soulful music, taking it in.
Yeah.
So that was really like where it started, and I first ever played instruments or ever got on a stage for the very first time at church.
Okay.
So that was the cornerstone, the start of it all. If you want to put a place on it.
How was the experience for you to kind of get you into the groove of finding your own lane?
Yeah, of course. Well, I mean, like I said, I learned all the basics. How to be on stage, how to lead a band, how to arrange music, how to work with different types of musicians, singers, instrumentalists, and that kind of really allowed me to kind of put it together. And then I think at that point I was kind of in my early 20s, maybe 22, 23. I decided it's time to take this out, on my own and start really traveling, and start getting out there on the road. So, of course, I put my own initial tours together and stuff. And then, I, again, started connecting with other musicians out there. And, I did end up, connecting with some national touring artists that I ended up playing drums for a while. There's a group called Rookie of the Year. They're based out of North Carolina.
All right.
But that kind of opened, the doors. I kind of learned, the game a little bit, saw like, oh, this is, how we get to this city from this city to this city. And then, when I got home from that, I kind of was like, it's time to put that all together for myself. And as I mentioned, I have a group called Terra Firma. That was really like where I was able to finally like get it together. We started, recording albums, getting music videos out there and putting tours together that were more and more legitimate, and then I guess at that point, for that beautiful span of that 10 years that I did that, up until that point, we all know that the pandemic happened, and that kind of put a stop to everything and kind of sent everybody indoors. And at that point, I wasn't able to like get with the band as much, so that kind of forced me to want to continue to create, and that is how I started Matheus, as a solo project, out of that just need and that desire to want to continue to create. And I mean, it really just continued to blossom from there, because I think at that point, with my group Terra Firma, we had, put out some really, really cool music, but we didn't really like have a definitive closing of that chapter. Not that there was going to be one, but I guess people who were listening to my music at that point were still looking for something. And then when I, was able to come out with Matheus and all these new tunes, it really just like set the path for me to continue on musically. So it was almost like, hey, this is the next chapter for you to continue on and create something new. So that's kind of long story short, but that's kind of how we got here.
I think we discussed this a little bit earlier. The difference between working in the group and then kind of internalizing and working on your own projects. The differences. How would you see that?
Yeah, major differences. Of course, you're working with a group of individuals like my band. There are 5 other creative minds. You get 5 creative input ideas. When you're working on your own, you kind of have to rely on your own. You trust your own creativity. Make those decisions. Okay, do I like this? Yes or no? Yeah, I do like this. All right, then I'm going to keep pursuing this idea here, and that's kind of how it goes. So that's really the major differences there for me, at least. It's like learning to rely on my own creativity. Say, hey, you know what? I like what I'm doing. I like it, so I'm gonna keep going with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that particular chapter done with Terra Firma?
No, absolutely not.
I was about to say.
No.
I was going to say.
Terra Firma is alive and well.
Okay.
Speaking of, we've got a show this Friday at 502 Bar.
Okay.
So those of y'all listening, please go check Terra Firma out. We are on at 10 p.m.
How many members are in the group?
It's 5 of us in the group. I play guitar and sing, and I'm the songwriter. And then we've got a lead guitar player. Her name's Lacey Love. She's a great guitar player. Drummer Anthony Junie Washington. Bass player Brandon Kent, and a piano player named Richard Castillo. And that's Terra Firma.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you working on new material as a group?
Yeah, definitely. We had just put out a single earlier this year. And just like I said, it was maybe like that was the single that we put out, was maybe just like the closing of like that, era of writing music, and now we're on to working on a brand new record here.
Okay.
And as I mentioned off air before this, I was with the band. We were rehearsing earlier today, and we were working on new music. And like I said, that's something that we've definitely got in the works. Not only for Terra Firma, but it's going to be really, really cool to work on Terra Firma's music now with Fresh Poetic Records. It's going to be like a more expansive reach, I feel, and it's going to be really, really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and get into some music, and when we come back, we're going to discuss more about the label.
Yeah.
Working on your own, and also some of the collabs that you're working with, including Miss Leah.
Yes.
And more discussions.
Let's do it.
Hey, y'all, stay tuned. We got more coming up in this block of music. As I stated, we have a track from Leah, as well as Brooklyn Michelle. But right now, music from Matheus. This is Don't Bother. Keep it locked, y'all. More coming up. This is the Urban Suite, KSYM, San Antonio College Radio.